Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I do apologise rudimentally for being 3 minutes late, but I've been on the call to some of my sources in Ukraine talking about the situation from the front line there. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we entered day 3 of the Manchester alleged airport attackers. Who knows what's going to happen? Right now, guys, I've been saying it from day one. Well, not from day one. I've been saying it from day one of this verdict process, however it's working. I've been saying that there's a strong likelihood, I believe, that these two guys could get off on a technicality. Also, there's been a huge, not volcano, what's the other one? Earthquake. There's been a huge earthquake off the coast of Russia. Let me just get that up now, and we'll talk about that. Tsunami waves hit Hawaii as massive earthquake off Russia triggers evacuations across the Pacific. Now, I want to find out where that is, guys. Where exactly that earthquake was. Here we are. Right, let me find out this. Right, so it's just off the right. Okay, so I'm just looking at this earthquake, guys. Here, it's a massive earthquake, 8.8 on the Richter scale, which is absolutely huge. So that whole region of Japan, I guess Russia, maybe even I don't think it's going to get as far as Australia. But I can remember the when there was a big tsunami in what was it? Was it 2005? No, I can't remember. I think it was 2005 actually. You know. This massive tsunami, I think it hit Thailand. It was absolutely catastrophic. But ladies and gentlemen, let's focus on the main stories in the United Kingdom at the moment. The United Kingdom is to legitimize the Palestinian state in September. Hang on, guys. So the United Kingdom are to recognise the Palestinian state, recognise Palestine as a state as of September. Remember, guys, this is part of a war footing. This is part of that direction whereby the United Kingdom is going to be very critical of what's happening in the Middle East. Oh, we don't want anything happening over there. You guys shouldn't be doing that. You guys shouldn't be doing this. Where the United States are then going to be very critical of what's happening in Europe, I guess. Staps, quick comment, guys. Quick comment from X. How can they get off with what they did? Right, guys, listen. I'll go through this again. So we're talking about the Manchester airport attackers now, and one of the things I've literally, guys. Let me leave that. I'll leave that comment up while I'm talking about it. But somebody remind me to take it down because I do this thing where I leave the comments up and then I'm talking about something else. So the Manchester 2 guys, all right, we are literally now in the 3rd day of those guys deliberating whether they're guilty or not guilty. Now, I think this is in direct response to Staps Rare. I think I'm saying that right. Staps Rare. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So I think they're going to get off here on a technicality. I think there's a strong possibility, guys. All right, I'm not casting my vote either way. What I'm saying is, I'm not a legal expert, but I am saying I think there is a strong possibility that these guys get off. Whereby, in the United Kingdom, a police officer has to identify themselves to make an arrest. Now they have to go up to that person and say, officer. My name's Officer Stapes, 123456 Stapes. I'm arresting you on suspicion of thought crime. You are not free, or something. You know, like where you have the right to remain silent or whatever. That might be in America, but basically in the United Kingdom, police officers have to identify themselves before they make an arrest. I think this is all going to come down to whether that officer, the arresting officer, whether that arresting officer identified themselves as a police officer before they made the arrest. And I think what the defense are going to argue is, and again, look, guys, I wasn't there. I'm literally just giving you guys my opinion from what I can see online. I think what the defense are claiming is if that initial arrest was illegal, i.e. it wasn't following arrest procedures, then when he puts his hand on that gentleman, by the legal definition, that is assault because he's not identified himself as a police officer and he's not made an arrest at that point. He's just some guy grabbing some other guy. And at that point, he can defend himself because you can defend yourself with self-defense. So that's where I think this is gonna. That's where I think the crux of the legal argument's gonna be. The guy in, the other guy in Starbucks. I don't think there's any dispute in that. I think that is, look, guys, and I need to keep caveating this. I can't see the defense on that. I can't see the defense on that. Who knows? He may have said something very, very provocative, and he may have thought that was self-defense as well. But that's where I think the argument for these two Manchester Airport attackers getting off, because nothing after that is going to matter. If the first offence, is argued to be not guilty of the first offence, then everything that happens after it's all a result of the first offence. So that's where I think it's going to come down to, guys. I think it's going to come down to one simple question. Did the officer identify themselves as did the arresting officer identify themselves as a police officer before he made the arrest? That's the question. And that's going to be on the body cameras, guys. That is going to be massively on the body camera. So that's where I think it's going to come. That's what I think it's going to come down to. For me and you, we walk around and we see police officers. If they come up to us, we talk to them. But what this is going to do is this is going to open up a huge can of worms, this, guys, all right? Because what this is going to do now is it's going to open, if they get off, guys, I don't know if they are, but if these two guys get off on a not guilty under the Self-Defense Act, in fact, let's just have a look what self-defense, let's just have a quick look what what is self-defense law in the UK. I know you can do a preemptive strike. Right. In the UK, self-defense is a legal concept that allows individuals to use reasonable force to protect themselves, others, or property when they reasonably believe it's necessary. So this is what it's going to come down to, guys. Did he reasonably believe the force was necessary? This can include action taken in the heat of the moment against intruders in one's home. That's not applicable here. As well as action taken to prevent crime or hang on. Sorry, guys, I'll just read it. This can include actions taken in the heat of the moment against intruders defending one's home, as well as actions taken to prevent a crime or during a lawful arrest. So you can do self-defense. I don't know what that means. The key is that the force used must be reasonable and proportionate to the threat faced. Again, guys, listen, I think this is going to be turned against the police officers. So the key here, right? Okay, so here's the thing, right? I know this is wild. I understand this is wild and it's bonkers, guys. I understand that. But I think this is where the defense is hinging their defense. So the force must be reasonable and proportionate. So you've got these guys throwing these hand bombs around. If somebody comes to attack you and they're armed with a weapon, whether they're police and they're not police, it would feel fair that the force you used is proportionate, the high force, because those guys have got weapons. You see how this can get turned and manipulated now? You see where this is, guys, where this can get turned and manipulated? And the individual must genuinely believe the use of force was necessary. That threshold is low, ladies and gentlemen. That threshold is low. I do see the argument there, guys. I do see the argument for this. I do see the argument for these guys getting let off with a not guilty report, ladies and gentlemen. Not guilty report, not guilty verdict. I really do, guys. I see those guys getting off. Well, I see a likelihood. And the fact that this is taking 3 days, well, we're on the third day now, I guess. The fact that we're in day 3 of the, let me try and get an update, guys. The fact that we're in day 3 of this is unbelievable, guys, okay? So I hope that answered your question. Right, let me just have a look at this, guys. Let me see where they are. Let me see if there's an update. Let me see if there is an update. 7 minutes ago, if the right, this is just a comment here, guys. If the Manchester airport attackers were British, they'd have been in prison for months by now. All right, yeah, I mean they are British. They've got British passports. Look, a lot of people on this, a lot of people commenting here, guys, are saying that a lot of people here are missing the point. The point, I think the point is what they're talking about. I think what they're talking about here is people are seeing these, people are seeing these pictures, and rightly so, of the footage, and rightly so, of these two guys throwing hand bombs, knocking women police officers out, and, just, having a tear up, basically. But what I think people are missing is the law, the legal precedence here, guys, okay, whereby the officers have to identify themselves as officers. Now, if none of these police officers were saying, I'm police, I don't think it matters that they're wearing police uniform. I really don't, guys. I think that's where this is going to hinge. But listen, guys, there's more news to talk about. We have got, I'm predicting either this Friday. In fact, I think this Friday would be too early. Let me just give you the metrics that I normally give. It will either be the Friday after Donald Trump goes back to the United States or the Friday after. I'm predicting that there's going to be a huge movement in Ukraine. I'm predicting there's going to be a huge movement, because what will be happening is when Donald Trump comes over to the United Kingdom, like he has done, he will bring his entourage, he will bring his consultant groups, his strategic advisors. His guys from the military will basically be coming with him. Now, while Donald Trump's playing golf and everybody's playing, and everybody's got the eyes on Donald Trump, and he's doing his thing, behind the scenes, his military advisors, his military attaché will be speaking with the British military attaché, and they'll be formulating a plan what's going to be happening in Ukraine. Guys, believe me, that will be happening. My speculation, of course, my analysis and my opinion. So, while everybody's looking at Donald Trump behind closed doors, and I always say this, you've got that, people talk about the corridors of power. That's where things happen, guys, all right? That is where the real meat is put on the bones. You have these meetings and the world leaders, and Donald Trump's just been like, I mean, Donald Trump's timing is phenomenal. Did you hear him talk about, did you hear Donald Trump talk about farmers the other day? Like, I don't want to go into this, guys, now, although we may, but Donald Trump gave a monologue about farming and how in the United States they've just removed all inheritance tax. As I understand it, they call it, they called it something else in America. But basically, in America, what would be comparable to inheritance tax in the United Kingdom on farmers, in America, they've just totally abolished that. So if mum and dad now leave a farm if mum and dad pass away and they leave their farm to their children, no tax on that farm. No tax on that farm. I mean, I think inheritance tax is ridiculous anyway. But there is no tax on that farm if they leave that to their children. And here in the United Kingdom, we all know that tax has been put up and up and up. And it was it was like a breath of, it was saddening, but equally it was like a breath of fresh air listening to Donald Trump talk about how they've removed the taxes on farmers in the United States. But it was also saddening to watch and see Keir Starmer squirm around it. It was unbelievable, guys. It really was. Right, where was you going? So the Manchester airport, guys, they're into day 3 now. Let me try and, I'm going to try and get an update on this. Let me have a look on the mainstream. Are they going to reach a verdict? Right, we've got a live from the Daily Mail. We've got a live update from the Daily Mail. Give me a second, guys. Live. Oh, So I think they're going to right. I'm just reading this live, guys. This is live from 10 past 10, so like 8 minutes old. So we've got an update from 8 minutes ago. Manchester Airport trial live. Brothers to learn their fate as jury weigh in. So it does look like they've got a verdict, guys. It does look like they've got a verdict. I don't know what it is. I'm just reading here in real time. Jurors at Liverpool Crown Court have reviewed CCTV and viral mobile phone footage showing the struggle, which prosecutors describe as a high level of violence. Excuse me. Right, where's the live updates? Right, okay. In 8 hours, what? That doesn't make sense. Jury can return the majority vote, the judge says. Right, okay, hang on. I'm just going to read this, guys, because I don't understand it. I'll read it, and if you guys can understand it, please put it in the comments. The jury was on Tuesday told it can now return a majority verdict in the trial of the 2 brothers accused of assaulting armed police officers at Manchester Airport. Mohammed Fahir Amaz and Mohammed Ahmad, they must have different dads or something, I don't know. 25, both from Rochdale, deny the charges related to the incident on the 23rd of July last year. Judge Neil Felwick, right, I'm going to Google him in a minute, guys. In fact, I'm going to Google him. I'm going to Google this guy here in a minute. And in fact, I'm going to Google him now, and then we'll come back onto him later so I don't forget. Let's see what he's all about. Judge Neil Felwick, KC, gave direction after one of the jurors was discharged for a prearranged holiday. He told them, after one juror was discharged on Monday due to pre-planned holiday, 11 jurors remain. Like, did they not see this? Did they not see this coming? After the remaining panel of jurors sent the judge a note, Judge, is this what you do? You send each other notes? Is it like Chinese whispers at school or something? Judge Felwick told them it's always better if you can reach a verdict on which you all agree, but I'm going to ask you to continue your deliberations for a while longer. Okay, right. So, okay. Why are the brothers... Right, it's not giving us any information here, guys. It's giving us no information. Oh, hang on. Jurors at Liverpool Crown Court have reviewed the CCTV and viral mobile footage with the struggle. The defense argues both men were acting in self-defense. So there's the thing that it's going to come down to, guys. Was this arrest legal or was it an illegal arrest? If it was an illegal arrest, then I think the self-defense argument, and it's going to be down to a technicality. Guys, I called it, right? I called it, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. Right, guys, I called it. This is why you guys are here, right? This is why you guys are here to witness in real time every dimension of my genius, all right? So I'm just going to read this off this is from the Express, all right? The defense argues both men were acting in self-defense after being grabbed without warning. Now this was updated at 0940 this morning, guys. All right, I've done videos on this and I've talked about how I think they're going to get off with a technicality. I don't know what was said in court, but from this article here, guys, it does look like exactly what I said, exactly how the defense is going to pan out. What I said in previous videos, I've talked about this, guys, and go look back through them. I've done a couple on TikTok. I've done quite a few on here, actually. I think, again, it says it there. You know, I know that in the United Kingdom, officers have to... Guys, honestly, the more I look at this, the more I think the likelihood of these guys getting away with assaulting the police officers, it's there. And again, you've got to look at near-peer adversaries and ideological subversion. So the defense are... right, let's just talk about what I've said previously. I've said that I think there's a strong case that these guys could be getting off with this on a technicality. Now, the technicality would be this. Did that police officer identify themselves as a police officer before he went to make the arrest? I don't know the answer to that, guys. I don't know the answer to that. If he went up to him and said, hello, sir, my name's PC Raven 123456. I'm arresting you on suspicion of assault. You do not have to say it. I don't know the spiel, whatever it is. I don't know if that's in America, but you know what I'm talking about. If he said that, then the arrest was legal, and if he tried to arrest him, then that is resisting arrest. If he just went over to him and tried to arrest him without saying that, then that is no arrest. That person is just being assaulted. And that's where the first offence is. So him throwing those bombs, him throwing those hand bombs, that is self-defense. He looks around, he sees somebody with a pistol, he doesn't know what's happening, he's confused. The next thing, he's laid on the floor tased. You see how the defense goes now, guys? You see how the defense goes? Now, this is an article, I'm just reading this as an update from Liverpool Crown Court. The defense argues both men were acting in self-defense after being grabbed without warning. That's where it hinges on, guys. Grabbed without warning. And honestly, guys, the more I look at it and the longer this goes on, the more likely I feel this is going to be a not guilty. Yeah, it's crackers. This is the world we're living in right now, guys. And also behind the scenes, what you've got to understand is, if you want that social collateral, let me just see if there's been any updates on this, guys, because it may have updated. If you want that social collateral, where you divide communities, you say, right, let's just get people absolutely crackers. Let's get them foaming at the mouth. This is what you do. This is literally what you do. Right, let me have a look at this judge now, guys. I'm looking at this judge in real time. Let's have a look at the background of this judge, okay? Here we are. I've got him here. Right, I'm just looking at his judge page. Let's see what he's talking about. He's a circuit judge. He's a senior judge based at Liverpool Crown Court. Right, I want to see his previous cases, what he's done previously. Right, here it is, his bio. Neil Flewitt was born in 1960 and called the Bar, Middle Temple. And called to the Bar, Middle Temple in 1981. I don't know what that means. He quickly established himself as a skilled barrister specialising in criminal law. His expertise and advocacy led his appointment to Queen's Counsel and now King's Counsel, or KC, in 2003, a prestigious designation recognised for his excellence in the legal profession. Before his judicial appointment, Judge Flewitt served as an assistant recorder, I don't know what that is, 1999, and recorder 2000, roles that allowed him to gain experience in presiding over the Crown Court. In 2015, on advice of Lord Chancellor of the Chief Justice, Her Majesty the Queen appointed Flewitt as a circuit judge, assigning him to the Northern Circuit based at Liverpool Crown Court. So he's been at Liverpool Crown Court since, so he's been there for like 10 years. He has been known as His Honourable Judge Nick Flewitt KC, reflecting on his status as a senior judge. Flewitt is also shown a list of circuit, right, doesn't really, notable cases. An escaped prisoner who was found with a nail bomb, 2 imitation firearms and a knife, was planning to blow up a bank after watching a Netflix documentary. Wow, I didn't even realize that. He was jailed for 15 years. Okay, so so he's like, I don't think he's a wokey judge. He was jailed for 15 years on Thursday. Right, I can't really I'm going to have to do a deep dive onto this judge, guys, see what he's all about. But I don't see anything like wrong with this judge. I think he's a fair judge. Controversy. Right, we've got some controversy here, guys. So ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the judge who's presiding right now over the Manchester Airport attackers trial. So I'm just going to give you this. I'm reading this in real time, guys. Okay. Judge Flewitt's decisions have not been without controversy, particularly in high-profile cases that have attracted public scrutiny. Posts on social media following the Manchester Airport assault trial criticised Judge Flewitt for allegedly describing the defendants as being of good character. Oh, okay. Due to their lack of prior convictions. Guys, I've got to be objective about that. I don't see, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's bad or not. With some users accusing him of bias. However, other defendants, his approach, noting that it is his standard judicial practice to inform juries of defendants' lack of prior convictions and praised his honor, Judge Fluey, as an excellent judge. Right, okay, so where people are saying that the judge shouldn't have, so they're saying, well, where the judge shouldn't have mentioned their good character, what they're saying is here is he does that on all his cases, if that's the thing. These polarized views highlighted challenges judges face after balancing legal impartiality with public sentiment, and I think that's going to be key there, guys. Okay. Right, guys, there's quite a lot of information there there's quite a lot of information to get through, but listen, guys, we are in day 3 of the Manchester Airport trial. We're in day 3 of Manchester Airport trial. The situation in the east of Ukraine, that's about to kick off either this Friday or next Friday, or do you know what, whenever Trump goes back, basically, the Friday after or the Friday after that, depending on when he goes back. Like, if he goes back tomorrow or today, I don't think there's going to be enough time to put that in place, but whenever it happens, guys, it will be on a Friday. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me jump up and get you guys some right, guys, so wow, lots of comments. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we're on now. You guys know I'm banned, right? You know I'm banned, so I think I'm just going to be streaming now on YouTube and X. I think that's just the way ahead, guys, all right? Yeah, I get banned all the time on TikTok. I can't say what I want to say, and I'm constantly, when I'm talking and and we're streaming on TikTok, although I love the thing behind me on TikTok, when I'm talking on TikTok, I'm struggling, like, because I'm thinking about the algorithm. I'm thinking about not to say keywords, so I have to be very restricted with my tongue. So can you guys please do me a favor if you're on? Share my stuff, guys. That really helps me with the algorithm. It really helps putting the message out there. It really does, guys. Okay, share my stuff. Obviously, if you can, like, comment, subscribe, bell notifications down below. If you guys are on YouTube, I do think YouTube's going to be the primary. I'd like YouTube to be the new primary channel, guys. All right, I'll still do videos on TikTok because I do think it's a great platform. It's just massively. I know this is contradicting itself. What I mean by a great platform is if you're making videos, the user interface on TikTok is just so much better. It's so much better for doing videos than certainly than YouTube, certainly than you know, I don't even think I've done a video on X, but the user interface on TikTok is just so much better. But the platform itself, guys, it's really restrictive. You know, it's constantly restricting what you can and cannot say. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Aesthetics is saying, guys, you can tell Trump is playing Starmer like a puppet. It's hilarious but cringy to watch his engagements with Trump. Yeah, I mean, did you guys see the footage of, like, I think, well, I know Trump was playing golf. I'm going to assume it's at his golf course in Scotland. So Trump's playing golf and people are shouting, "We love you, Trump. Don't trust Starmer." You know, of course, Donald Trump knows what the public sentiment is, but you know, he's a statesman. April Lee is saying, we will find out right? Okay, so April Lee is saying, do you think we'll find out today? Honestly, April, I thought we would find out on Monday. I really did. I thought we'd find out on Monday. Definitely thought we'd find out on Tuesday. Yep. Here we are on Wednesday and still no update. So I can't even answer that. You know, what I can say is the longer this goes on, the more likely this is going to be a not guilty. Tracy McKibbin, hello Tracy McKibbin, is saying, I sent you a clip from a citizen journalist outside the court talking to their friends. The sticking point is stamp on the head. You see, that stamp on the head, guys, like, I don't think any of that matters. You've got to go way back. I mean, can you imagine? Wow, here's the thing, guys. Listen, Tracy McKibbin, listen to this. Wow. Wow. Right, Tracy McKibbin. Oh, by the beard of Zeus. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you guys are here, for real-time analysis. This is why you guys are here. Real-time analysis, speculation, opinion, and just a little chat. So here's the thing, guys, right? Let's talk about what we've just said. Let's go down that route, okay? Let's say that, in fact, let me get this back up. Let's say that the, like the defense are claiming, where are we? Like the defense are claiming, and like I've said, so here we go, guys, right? The defense argues both men were acting in self-defense after being grabbed without warning. Let's just go with that, right? And I've said that, you know, in the United Kingdom, you have to identify yourself as a police officer before you make an arrest. If you don't, it's not an arrest. So let's just go with that, right? Let's just go with that. Let's just say these guys get off on a technicality because let's just say, let's just say, you guys know where I'm going, right? Let's just say these guys get off on a technicality, which I've said I see the argument, guys. I really do, okay? So if those guys get off on a technicality, that would mean that arrest is illegal. So that would mean the police officer actually assaults them. And then there's a counterclaim. You see where I'm going with that? You see where we're going with that? So the first instance would be, are they guilty or not guilty? If it's a not guilty charge, then I can guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, that barrister, that legal team, they will put another claim in against those officers and say, you guys assaulted us. Give us some of the moolah. Give us some of the moolah. And what better way to subvert a country? Tracy McKibben, yeah, I didn't. I've just thought of that. Thank you for putting me onto that, Tracy. Matt is saying, you have freedom of speech. You can defend yourself, but anything you say or do will be held against you. This is the thing, Matt. You know, with this trial in the Manchester airport, I don't think these guys were. I don't think they certainly weren't read their rights. They certainly weren't read their rights. Not a chance where they read their rights. Did that officer identify themselves as a police officer? That's what it's going to come down to, guys. All right. You know, obviously, if you go to arrest someone and you say, "Hi, I'm PC Matt 100. I'm here to arrest you. I'm arresting you on suspicion of thought crime." If you get there and you say, "I'm PC Matt 100," and he throws a punch, you obviously don't have time, do you? You obviously don't have time to respond, and you obviously, you know, that's reasonable. But yeah, like, can you imagine that, guys? And look, I'm not ruling anything out right now. And the reason I'm saying I'm not ruling anything out, guys, I'll be quite clear. I'll be quite fair. I can remember when you guys were telling me, sending me private messages saying, Sean, is the government secretly shipping in foreign soldiers and putting them in hotels, flying them in and putting them in hotels? And I was like, no, guys, that's not happening. That can't happen. That's like, you couldn't hide that. Turns out I was wrong and you guys were right. And I'll hold my hands up to that, guys. I'll hold my hands up to that. Patsinator is saying, so you can get away with assaulting police because they didn't identify themselves, but citizens can defend their own houses on burglary. Makes sense. I think this is good. If this goes ahead, and look, ladies and gentlemen, I need to keep caveating this. I'm not a legal expert. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, I genuinely see the argument there that these guys, the arrest was illegal. Well, I see the argument that the arrest could be illegal. Obviously, I don't know what was said in that court. I don't know what the evidence has been presented. But if the arrest was illegal, whereby the gentleman making the arrest did not identify himself as a police officer, I do see the argument. I.e., the defense argues both men were acting in self-defense after being grabbed without warning. What this is going to do is open a precedence then. So every time a police officer goes to arrest you, if they don't say to you, I'm officer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm arresting you on suspicion of thought crime, that's gloves off for hand bombs. That's literally gloves off for hand bombs. So now, anytime a criminal wants to get arrested, is about to get arrested, they can just throw hand bombs and say, oh, you didn't identify yourself as police. It's going to open up a massive precedence, guys. It's going to open up a can of worms all over the country. So now you can imagine people protesting Now you can imagine people protesting. And now, look, guys, and I need to keep caveating this. I don't know what the result's going to be. I don't know what's going to happen. But if this happens, whereby these guys get off and are not guilty, you can imagine the next time people are protesting, right? The next time people are protesting and a police officer goes to arrest them. You can see what's going. You can see what's coming, can't you, guys? You can see what's coming. And also, this is the legal framework, right? You've also got to look that behind the scenes, you have got there'll be right now, I would say, millions and millions of pounds being pummeled into whatever systems, whatever mechanisms, whatever machinery, whoever, like near-peer adversaries, have got to make this a not guilty verdict. Matt is saying, so you can basically hit the police and walk the streets if they don't identify themselves. I wish I knew that earlier. So Matt, not right now. I don't know. What I do know is if this verdict comes as not guilty because they didn't identify themselves, then I think, and again, guys, look, remember, I'm not a legal expert, so don't take this as gospel, but from my understanding, what Matt's saying would be correct. Because if they don't identify themselves as a police officer when making an arrest, it's not an arrest. So they're assaulting you. Look, guys, I'm not a legal expert, so don't say, oh, Sean says this, because I definitely didn't. Potsinator is saying, Sean, did you hear Raven or Sean, I don't mind. Raven, have you heard the online safety thing also restricts content on immigration? Yeah, it also restricts content on anything that the government deem harmful. Now, I said this as soon as this was introduced. I said, okay, who decides what is or is not harmful? So what I mean by that, okay, fair enough, all right? Children seeing things that they shouldn't, I'm totally as a parent, I'm totally for that. The problems here is who decides what is and is not allowed to be seen. Now, I think it's like Amendment 44 in that bill, Amendment 44 or something in that bill. Again, guys, look, you're going to have to actually look through it yourself. I think it's Amendment 44 that says those restrictions can be updated at any time by any sitting member of Parliament. So basically what that means is David Lammy one day can wake up and think, right, I'm not happy with the Sydney, what's her name? Sydney Jones jeans adverts where she's saying my jeans are blue. Like, I'm not happy with those adverts being shown in the United Kingdom. I'm going to ban them. So that is literally, what you could do. Carol Easton is saying, well, will that work in Tommy R case, as Tommy gave the man in the airport at least 5 warnings to get out of his face? But then again, it's something. I don't know, guys. I don't know about what happened in. Where was it? London St Pancras. I don't know what happened. What I do know is, Tommy's been in jail quite a few times for quite a lot of different things, and I don't think he would have thrown hands without knowing that was. I don't think he would have thrown hands without him knowing that he was, well within his rights to do so. Yes, Trigger Happy Matt is saying, Sean, what's going on for this tsunami? I've just seen the news. Right, let me get on to this, guys. So there's been an earthquake off the coast of Russia. So if you guys think of Russia, I don't know if you guys know this, but Russia and the Russians own a lot of... The Russians own a lot of land that is ethnically Chinese. Not that that's relevant to this, guys, but the Russians do own a lot of land that is ethnically Chinese. So this relationship between Russia and China, it's not as cemented as you would think. But anyway, So there's been a huge there's been a huge earthquake, and I mean a huge one, guys. 8.8 on the Richter scale off the coast of Russia's, like, that way for you guys, eastern flank. Now that happened, I believe, 11, well, here we are, guys, 11:25 a.m. on Wednesday. I don't know what time that is here. Let me just get up for these reports. Now that will, obviously, because it's in the water, that will send big tsunamis everywhere. So let's just jump up and get the latest update on that. Oh, okay. The Philippines has cancelled its tsunami advisories. Right. Waves near California reached 1 meter. That doesn't sound like the apocalyptic. Right. There's something suspicious here. There's something suspicious here, ladies and gentlemen. There's something suspicious here. Right. Let me do a little, right, this is not right. I can remember when that earthquake's huge, guys. That should have caused massive tsunamis. The first wave triggered by a massive 8.8 earthquake off Russia's coast have been reached in the shores of the United States, Hawaii, and California. The earthquake, which hit near Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. Millions of people have been ordered to evacuate in Japan, Russia, and some parts of the US and the West Coast. In Japan, 1.9 million people have been told to evacuate. A tsunami wave of 4.3 feet. Does that sound a lot to you guys? Does that sound high to you? 4.3 feet? That sounds like really low. Like you could like stand up in it and be like, oh yeah, right, this is a tsunami. Look, guys, I don't know. I'm not claiming to be a tsunami expert. Right, let me have a look about this region here, guys. Let me have a look about this region. Can I? Let me see what's in this peninsula. I know the Russians do a lot of nuclear testing on various peninsulas. So let's just get this up on the maps and have a look where we are. Where's my maps? Let's get that up. Maps. Right, so there's a big volcano there. There's a huge volcano there straight away. There's a massive volcano. Or mountain, I guess. I'm just looking at this peninsula now. Right, okay. So right, so it's by, okay. So it's by the Bering Sea. I'm going to have to do a deep dive into this, guys, because it just seems suspicious. It just seems suspicious that like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I don't know, guys. It's 4 feet high for a tsunami. Like that seems like really low. Maybe I've just watched too many disaster movies, guys. Maybe I've watched too many. Maybe I just watched too many disaster movies. Right, let me jump on to get the rest of the comments. Right, I'm going to jump down, guys. There's quite a lot of comments. I can't pronounce your second name, but Ileana Raylinu, I think I'm pronouncing that right, is saying, I think there are many cases where police officers didn't identify themselves and people were arrested. Many of them have been convicted. Basically, all of them will have the possibility to contest. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to open up a massive, this is going to open up a massive, this is going to open up, like, back to the Manchester airport case. This is going to open up a massive, like, can of worms. If it comes out, and I'm not saying that it is, what I'm saying is the argument is there, and I totally accept it is a solid argument, guys. I've got to be objective. It's a solid argument. If the law in the United Kingdom, which it does, says that an officer needs to identify themselves as an officer before they can make an arrest, if that's the, hang on, guys, I've just got a message. Wow, 41 messages on the group chat. Right, I'm gonna have to go and do some work soon, guys. Hang on. Sorry. Yeah, if again, look, guys, this is what I think, and you know what, guys, look, this is what I said previously. It's what I'm standing by. I've done videos on this quite a while ago. There was an update this morning, like 9:50, I think it was this morning. So I've done previous videos about this, and it does look like I was right. The defense argues both men were acting in self-defense after being grabbed without warning. So in the UK now, it is the law that well, it's always been the law, I assume, that a police officer has to identify themselves as a police officer before making an arrest. And like Ileana's saying, if this is being brought out as a, if this is being pushed out as an, if this is brought out and, if this is brought out and they get off on a technicality because the police officer didn't identify themselves, guys, this opens up an absolute minefield, can of worms. Literally, all the things that you can think to open, they're all getting open, guys, right now if this happens. AJ Aesthetics is saying something's not right about that's not a tsunami. My wife makes bigger waves in the bath. Yeah, it doesn't seem right, does it, guys? It doesn't seem right. Chair is saying bigger waves at surfing. Yeah, guys, look, I'm not an expert on this, guys. I'm genuinely not an expert on tsunamis, but I do know that an 8.8 magnitude earthquake is huge. That is absolutely huge, guys. All right. I do know that's a huge earthquake. And, the tsunami warnings are over now. I don't know, guys. It just doesn't seem right to me, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. D. Marie Gen X is saying small tsunamis, 1 to 3 feet, can still cause strong currents and dangerous coastal flooding. Moderate tsunamis, 3 to 10 feet, can cause significant flooding and damage. Right, okay, yeah, so I guess, yeah, I didn't think about that. So I guess it's that, I guess it's the ferocity of that water coming inland, isn't it? You can have like, if it's moving really fast, it's going to be a bigger problem than if it's moving slow. Matt is saying, how would a police officer identify themselves while in a car chase? Matt, you are 100% right. If this, you could say that because they've got like, what Matt's saying here is, so we're talking about the Manchester, well, we're not talking about the Manchester, we're talking about the precedents. So Matt's saying, how would a police officer identify themselves while in a car chase? Shout out the window. So what we're seeing here is, what this will open up as a new precedent. So like, yeah, I totally agree, Matt. Just because they're in a police car doesn't mean they're police, and what's the girl's name? I think her name's Sarah. I think her name was Sarah. Yeah, so then this leads us back to the case of Sarah Everard, who was absolutely she was like murdered by a police officer. So like you understand now, whereby we just like this will destroy the police force, guys. This ruling could destroy the police force, because then who's going to stop for a police officer? Why would you waste your time stopping for a police officer? Yeah, we're being chased by the police. Oh, I'm just going to go home. Yeah, I'm going home. Yeah, you're on private property now. You're not like, get yourself off. Well, where are we going with this? And this is going to lead us into, in fact, some of you guys remember what I was talking about how the police are going to have a shake-up and we're going to bring in private security companies. That's on the cards, guys. It's on the cards. And what better way to bring that in than destroy the police force? Like, destroy the police force and bring in private contractors. You don't have to pay them as much. If something goes wrong, you blame the company, and you get more bang for your buck. And a lot of these security officers, ladies and gentlemen, they will not speak English as their first language. I can guarantee that, because we can already see that on the streets. Guys, put in the comments, when was the last time you saw a security officer like a supermarket at a, like, I was doing a live stream the other day in Rotherham, and I saw council enforcement officers. Guys, look, these people looked like they look like police officers in a third world country. They're walking around Rotherham Town Centre in these like uniforms. English wasn't their first language, and it said community enforcement officer, I think it was. Now I don't know what that means. I don't know what a community enforcement officer is, but they look pretty official. Now, if he came up to me and he started to talk to me, I'd be confused. I'd be thinking, right, I don't know what community enforcement. I don't know what community enforcement officer is, guys. No idea. Absolutely no idea what community enforcement officer. Do you know what? I'm going to Google it right now. I am going to Google this right now. I know what the police are. A community enforcement officer, also known as a community safety officer, is a public official who works to improve community safety by addressing issues like antisocial behaviour, environmental crime, and other violations of local regulation. They often work closely with the police, and wow, so it's already happening. It's literally already happening, guys. We are outsourcing this. They often work closely with police and other local authorities to enforce laws. Wow, and it's happening. It's happening, guys. I had no idea we were so far down this rabbit hole. So a community enforcement officer is someone that works with the police to improve community safety by addressing issues like antisocial behaviour. So there we have it, guys. Listen, I do my own stuff, right? I do my own stuff. I don't copy other people's stuff. I didn't have any idea what a community enforcement officer was. So what's going to happen is, this will be the next step. I said it was going to happen with private security companies. It's actually going to happen with community enforcement officers. I'm speculating now, guys. So take everything I say in this little spiel with a pinch of salt, and tell me how likely you think this is. So we have now got community enforcement officers. These guys cruise around looking like third world police officers. English is not their first language. They wear little body armors. They've got little cameras on them. How far of a stretch of the imagination is it to say we are going to give community enforcement officers the powers of detention? And then once you've done that, once you give them the powers of detention, do you know what? Let's see what powers they have. Once you've done that and you give those guys the powers of detention, and then people say, oh, but it's not powers of arrest. Well, we've just seen that powers of arrest don't really mean anything. And I could argue, here we go, guys, all right? I could actually argue now, from what we've spoken about on this live stream, I could argue that the powers of detention hold more strength than the powers of arrest, because the powers of detention, I don't think in the powers of detention you have to identify yourself as a police officer, because these guys would not be police officers. So I think under these circumstances, right. Community enforcement officers, such as police community support officers and civil enforcement officers, have specific powers to address antisocial behaviour and maintain public order. These powers include fixing penalty notices for offences like littering or failing to comply with public spaces protection orders. Don't know what that is. Directing traffic and dealing with abandoned vehicles. They also have the... It's already there. It's already there. They also have the power to detain individuals for short periods under certain circumstances, such as when they fail to provide their name and address or are suspected of antisocial behaviour. Guys, it's already here. It's literally already here. How did this slip in? How did this slip in? This slipped in. You see how these things slip in under the radar, guys, and nobody knows it? So now civilians, what did I say, guys? What did I say? I said this was coming. I was wrong. I was wrong again. It's actually here. I guess I was wrong. But I was also right by saying that these powers will be given to private security companies. So now, like, as I'm look, guys, I'm reading this in real time, guys. I'm reading this in real time. This is where we've come together. Don't laugh. These powers include fixes, right? So as I understand it from reading this, they also have the power to detain individuals for short periods of time under circumstances, such as failing to provide their name and address. So now, like, look, guys, I'll be clear with you, right? I didn't know what a community enforcement officer is. And if a community enforcement officer came up to me and said, like, give me your name, and like, I'd be like, to be honest, mate, I'm walking and you don't have the authority to stop me walking. I still don't think they do. But like, and you continue to walk and you don't give these people your name and address, they can detain you. As I'm reading from here, guys, where's the source? Now, you can imagine, right? You can imagine a young girl walking home, you know, one of these community support officers, community enforcement officers comes up to her and he's like, give me your name and address. She's like, no, I'm good. Give me your name and address. No, I'm good. All right, I'm detaining you until you give it me. You can see the mass problems that this could arise, don't you guys? Right, this is from the government's own website, guys. This is literally from the government's own website. This is from GovUK. I'm reading this now from www.gov.uk/police-community-support-officers, what they are. Ah, right, okay. Right, no. Sorry, guys, I think I was wrong. No, I think that's special constables I was talking about there. I think that's special constables. Yeah, sorry, guys. Scratch what I just said. That is a special constable, so a PCSO. Police community support officers, they have those powers. But listen, you know, I think I was still right. I don't think it's long before these, you know, these powers of detention. Remember, they're already using the phrase and the terminology. You know, these powers of detention are handed down to people who are not directly in support under the control of the police, i.e., private security companies, you know, and other third party entities. Right, sorry guys, sorry ladies and gentlemen. I went off on a bit of a tangent there, didn't I? D-Marie Gen X is saying, what better time to completely ruin policing morale than now, when they're trying to create social cohesion? Yeah, this would be the right time to do it, guys. Listen, we talked about many times. We've talked about many times about subversion, how the United Kingdom is being heavily subverted. And right now, guys, in the United Kingdom, in fact, let me do a quick update. What better way right now to cause social, what's the word I'm looking for? Social despair, I guess. Social despair by giving these two brothers, the Manchester Airport brothers, letting them get off with a not guilty. But look, guys, and I've got to be clear, I genuinely see the argument, guys. I really do. I see the argument for this to be a not guilty. I really do. Right, let me just see if it's right. 10:40. Right, what happened before last year's melee at Manchester Airport? The incident began when Mohammed Fahir Amaz allegedly attacked a man at Starbucks in Manchester Airport's Terminal 2. Police were called to try and intervene, but Amaz is accused of turning on the officers, punching one and headbutting another. I didn't see him actually headbutt an officer. I don't know. As officers struggled to retain him, his brother, Mohammed Amaz, is said to have joined in, repeatedly punching one of the PCs. The situation escalated quickly, with body cam footage capturing. Oh, hang on. We're getting an update right now. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, right. So they've only just arrived. At court, guys. So literally, just got an update now. They have literally just arrived at court. There's a picture here of them arriving at court. Mohammed Fahia and Mazen, right, yeah, there's no update on, but so they're just arriving at court today, right now. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to get a result. What time is it? Like 11 o'clock? We're not going to get anything today, guys. You know, there's going to be an hour. These guys are going to go to lunch at 12. They're going to come back. I don't think we're getting a result today, guys. If anything, we're going to get a result. We're going to get a result Friday. Why? Social cohesion, social collateral, ladies and gentlemen. Behind the scenes, what everybody's got to understand right now, I would speculate that right now in near-peer adversarial countries, you will have rooms full of people with computer screens open, and there'll be an operator, what's the word? Conductor? Is it a conductor? Yeah, conductor. There'll be a conductor at the front with his little wand saying, right, lads, split it down the middle. You lot push left-wing politics into the UK. You lot push right-wing politics into the UK. Team leaders close in and we'll have a collaboration. Let each other know what you're talking about and have counter arguments and really push this together. They'll be deep diving, looking for videos, sending misinformation, you know, all that stuff. It will be getting pumped into the UK right now over this article, over this incident, actually. So the brothers deny the charges, guys. They deny the charges, and I've spoken about this quite a while. Ladies and gentlemen. The brothers are denying the charges, and I do see a legitimate direction. They're wearing fantastic shoes, guys. I'm looking at the pictures here, and both of those brothers are wearing fantastic shiny shoes. Wow. They are beautiful shoes, guys. I've got to admit, they are beautiful shoes. They're not TK Maxx jobbies. They are some fantastic shoes they're wearing. Beautiful shoes. Anyway, guys, right, let's get on to the comments. Lone Wolf Prepper, good morning, Lone Wolf Prepper, is saying, if someone can't speak English, I will never allow them to put handcuffs on me on the streets of the United Kingdom. Here's the thing, guys, like, at some point, I do think this is coming. And, you know, I first saw this. And the reason when I first spoke about this, I was in, I think, supermarket. I don't know. I can't remember what supermarket it was. I came out of the supermarket and there was two girls. They were obviously having a party or something because they had loads of beer and vodka and like gin and stuff in the trolley. And they were standing outside. And as I walked out, the security guard from inside the store, he'd come out and he was asking them to show the receipt. And like, you guys know as well as I do, when you go to the supermarkets now, it says, do you want the receipt? And like, realistically, guys, who actually takes that receipt? I never take it. You know, I'm like, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to put it in my pocket and it's going to end up in the washing machine. It's going to ruin my jeans. So I never take the receipts. No, I don't want the receipt. You know, if you want to accuse me of theft, go check your cameras. I'm literally paid. So this security guard now, he's outside the store. And I know because I've done this. I know that, well, I believe the law might have changed. I'm pretty sure that security guard has no jurisdiction, and his jurisdiction is limited in the store, that security guard's jurisdiction is over once he leaves the store. So where I'm going with this is these two girls are like, oh, no, I'm sorry. And they were like, I mean, I would have just said, get back inside. You know, get back inside. I'm not talking to you. You've got no jurisdiction here. Get back inside. I'm talking to you. But what I'm getting at here is, he followed those girls outside of that store. He may have been legitimate. You know what, guys? Those girls may have stolen something. I don't know. I'll be quite clear. I don't know. They may have put a bottle of wine in and not paid for it, and then not. I don't know. I'll be quite clear I'll be quite fair. So I don't know what happened, but he was still outside the store, and I don't think he has jurisdiction outside the store. And what I'm getting at here is, what is the difference in him asking to see that receipt outside the store where they stood there with the trolley waiting for, they were waiting for somebody to pick them up. What is the difference in that and that officer following those girls back to their car and asking to see the receipt while they're putting the stuff in the boot? What is the difference in that officer asking them at the car and following them back home and then asking to see the receipt? You see where I'm going with this, guys? You see how when you start to push this over to window, when you start to push this over to window, we're going to have a situation in the United Kingdom where our security is going to be provided by people who do not speak English as their first language. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, mark my words. Unfortunately, Matt is saying police should leave the force and set up their own security companies. Do you know what, guys? I do think we're heading that way. Really, I do. I first witnessed this when I was in South Africa. How massively people just all live in gated communities. Well, obviously not everyone. People live predominantly in South Africa in gated communities, and the more money you've got, the better gated communities you have. And these gated communities, they'll have like a bar, a restaurant, a couple of shops, a gym, all in that gated community. And it's and then the dangers are when you're traveling between these places. So I do think and again, as this may sound a little bit conspiratorial to you guys, but I'm actually seeing that now in the United Kingdom. Look at new housing developments that are being built, guys. All right, look at new housing developments that are being built. These new housing developments that are being built, they'll have one road. The same road you go in is the same road you go out, and that is so easy. It's so easy to turn that into a gated community, because you only have to deal with one road. And that is where I think we're going, guys, in the United Kingdom. Mac Tube is saying it's all to create social upheaval so they can bring in digital ID. I think it is, guys. I think it is. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm going to run into the house real quick. I'm going to get a coffee, and then I'm going to come straight back out. Can you guys wait there for me a minute, guys? Can you? And if you're on right now and you've not done so already, can you like, comment, subscribe, bell notification? And ladies and gentlemen, share my stuff. I really appreciate it when you guys share my stuff. That's the biggest thing you can do to help this channel, guys, okay? Share my stuff, all right? That really pumps me out in the algorithm. I'll be right back. And now I can drink coffee on the screen because I'm not on the TikTok, and I won't get a live ban because I'm drinking coffee. How ridiculous is that, guys? How ridiculous is that? Lord of Langwith is saying civil unrest, earthquake, war, tsunamis, migrants, alien invasion, just another Wednesday in the UK. Guys, listen, like this alien thing. I can remember sat there, right, with like, I can remember sat there speaking to like executives from Boeing. We'll be talking about like, they've been wanting something. And like these, like, it gets really boring when you're operating with these people, because like a lot of these big, the big manufacturers, the big prime companies, they don't care about innovation. They don't care about creating good products. They just care about what they can sell. And unfortunately, that's, that is business. It's got pros and cons. And I would say to those guys, I would say, right, guys, come on. Have you got a plan for the alien invasion? And some people used to like, some people would be like, but they used to see other people who were like, yeah, we know it's coming, but we just do. Yeah, we know some things. We think something. Obviously, at that level, I don't think they know anything. But you could see there was a mixed. When I used to say that in the room, there was a mixed response of people going, "That's ridiculous. There's no such thing." But then other people thinking, "Yeah, we've kind of been thinking about that, but we're too scared to say anything." But fortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I've got my own channel now, and I say whatever I want. So yeah, Lord of Language saying civil unrest, earthquakes, war, tsunamis, migrants, alien invasion, just another Wednesday in the UK. Right, Lord of Language, has something come out? Lord of Language, has something come out about aliens? Has something come out this morning about aliens? Let me have a look. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. I'm just Googling alien invasion and going to news. 14 hours ago, so 14 hours ago, potentially hostile alien object could prove, hang on, let me click, I will click this, I'll click this, guys, I'll click it. Oh, I know I'm going down a clickbait thing here, guys. I know I'm going down a clickbait thing. Right. Potentially hostile alien object could prove Major Baba Vanga. Was he not Baba Yaga? Whatever. Baba Vanga and Living Nostradamus theory right. Could this unexplained interstellar object have been predicted many years ago? The potentially hostile alien object hurling through space could prove a massive theory. I'll just read that. Could prove a massive theory touted by Baba Vanga and the Living Nostradamus to be correct. Space enthusiasts found their paths Space enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists. Listen, you guys were conspiracy theorists when you were telling me that the government were flying in thousands of foreign soldiers and putting them up in hotels, and then it turned out you guys were right. So I'm not. Listen, I'm not. The word conspiracy theorist doesn't mean anything anymore. Space enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists found their paths converging once again this week when a group of researchers at Harvard University, seems legit so far, revealed that they believe that a recently discovered comet named 31/Atlas could actually be an alien probe. Come on, guys, I don't need any alien probing. I mean, can you imagine if it's like the Summer of Carnage, but also happens to be the Summer of Alien Invasions? Could actually be an alien probe sent to observe Earth by a more advanced civilization with sinister consequences. I don't know why with sinister consequences would be added and what evidence they've got for that, but let's continue. The hypothesis in question is that the asteroid, or whatever it is a technological artifact and furthermore has active intelligence. What's the evidence? If this is the case, then two possibilities follow. Avi Loeb, Adam Drowell, and Adam Hibber wrote the paper. Right, so this Avi Loeb, I know he's like, he does go on about aliens quite a lot. Right, okay, so yeah, so he's not saying that they are, right, so okay, in the paper they're not saying they're hostile, they're saying that there's two options. They either are hostile or they're not, which is fair, it is literally 50-50. What I would say is with aliens, and do we think they're hostile? What I'll say is, there's a couple of trains of thought on this, and my train of thought is always there on the side of caution. If you are if you assume that life is evident elsewhere and it has emerged into intelligent life, what you can take from that is that intelligent life, for them to be intelligent, they must be competitive. It doesn't work any other way, guys. And if it does, please put it in the comments. So what do I mean by that? So first of all, cavemen trying to get apples out of a tree. All right, climbing up the tree, they're falling over, they're hurting themselves. The other tribe of cavemen, you know, they use a stick to get those apples down. That tribe of cavemen, because they use sticks to get those apples down, they have a longer life, they reproduce more, and they're more successful. Another tribe decides that's pointless. We're just going to go and rob their. We're just going to go and rob their. We're going to go and rob their apples. And then another tribe. You see how we're talking. So what we're talking about here, guys, is technological advancement because of that competitivity. Eyes in the front of our heads, guys. Apex predators, explorers, engineers, and pioneers. All right, that's what we are. So in that context, if someone or an intelligent life force has the capacity to create a spacecraft, then they must be competitive. And if they're competitive, they want to compete over resources. That means our resources. And the only resource that we have on Earth that is not vastly more abundant in the cosmos is humans. And I'm always erring on the side of caution, guys. Linda Clark is saying in the 70s, the Germans had gated communities in Ireland. I did not know that. Are we being serious, Linda Clark? Like the Germans had gated communities in Ireland in the 70s? I did not know that, but thank you. Oh, excuse me. Air Hammond is saying, isn't there an asteroid on its way to Full House? Yeah, so there's two asteroids. There's one asteroid on it. Well, there's this, what is it? There's this 31/Atlas that's on its way to Earth. Now, this will meet its, what's it called? Perihelion? Is it, somebody correct me, guys. I think it's perihelion. Will reach its perihelion as like when the Earth is totally at the opposite side of the sun. So this asteroid, when it's coming, this Atlas 31, I just imagine like this is the Earth here. In fact, yeah, imagine this is the Earth and that's the sun. No, this is the Earth and that's the sun. When the Earth's in this position here, and this asteroid 31 Atlas is at its closest place, it will be totally on the other side of the sun, so we won't be able to see it. Now, could you imagine how freaky would this be? Could you imagine if that asteroid or whatever it is you know, it's coming round and then everybody's saying, yeah, it'll be back out the other side in 3 days, and it doesn't come out the other side. It just stays there in orbit at the other side of the sun in synchronistic orbit. Can you imagine how creepy that would be? And then there's the other asteroid that's on its way in due to, look, guys, so let me know what you guys think, all right? This asteroid is going to be 20,000 kilometers from Earth. Just to put that in context, we have satellites that this will go underneath satellites. That's how close this one that's coming in 2029 will be. For me, this one that's coming in 2029, guys, like literally, this is terrifying. I'm genuinely like, when I'm laid in bed at night, I'm thinking, right, a speed up or a slow down of this asteroid, a slight kink in its trajectory, and that thing's hitting Earth, guys. That thing's hitting Earth. A slight alteration of that trajectory, and that thing's hitting Earth. Absolutely. 20,000 kilometers away from Earth is nothing, guys. Let me just have a look at, I'm just going to Google what's the furthest satellite that we have. Obviously, it's the moon. What is the furthest man-made satellite? Let's just see what we get on that. Voyager 1, right, okay, not Voyager 1. And that's not a satellite! Orbiting Earth. Jesus, right, I can't even get, right, okay, no, right, okay. What is the furthest man-made satellite orbiting Earth? I'm getting Voyager 1. That's definitely not it. What distance do satellites orbit Earth? Right, so here we are, guys. All right, so the furthest, as I might be wrong on this, guys, but this is what I'm getting. The furthest is 36,000 kilometers. So a high altitude satellite would be at 36,000 kilometers. All right, 36,000 kilometers. This asteroid that's heading towards Earth is going to be 20,000 kilometers away. Does that sound a safe distance to you guys? I know for me, it does not seem like a safe distance at all, guys. That's going to go under a lot of satellites. Let's see if I can get this information. In fact, I'll ask Grok, how many satellites orbit Earth over 20? Grok should know this because it's Elon Musk's site, isn't it? They should know this satellite thing. So I've asked how many satellites orbit Earth, right? So there's approximately, do you know what? I get angry with AI, but he's still good. So there are approximately 700 satellites that orbit over 20,000 kilometers. So there we have it, guys. So this asteroid that's coming in 2029, it's going to go underneath around 700 satellites. It's going to skim underneath 700 satellites. Does that seem safe to you guys? I know it doesn't to me. Linda Clark is saying true. The Germans had their own communities in Ireland, in Northern. Wow, I never knew this, guys. I never knew this. Linda Clark is saying it's true. The Germans had their own communities, though just houses in horseshoe with a fence all the way around and gated to the shops. What kind of Germans were there? Are they Germans who were fleeing something? I don't know. And Four Paws are saying 2029, just in time for the election. What election? What election do we have? What election? Listen, guys, I've said it a few times, the way this government are acting now, the argument for it, they know that they can't win in it. Right, I don't know what's gonna happen, guys. I mean, round about 2027, 2028, what the Labour government could do is they could say, right, we've got enough people in here now. We've got enough of these migrants in. I'm gonna, in a grand gesture, we're gonna stop the boats. I'm gonna come down hard on X, Y, and Z. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. But look, guys, doesn't really matter because we all know that the governments don't. Doesn't really matter who you vote for. You still get the same people behind. I mean, and a lot of people are thinking that a vote for Nigel Farage's reform is going to change anything. It's not going to change anything, guys. It really isn't. It's not going to change anything. Lord of Langwitz is saying it's the ones that orbit at 20. It's the So Lord of Langwitz is saying it's the ones that orbit at 20,000 kilometers we need to be worried about. So, guys, look, this asteroid that's coming on the 29th of 2029. Sorry, 2029, and it comes the closest on Friday the 13th. Yeah, I said that. Friday the 13th of April, 2029. That's the date you need to put in your diaries. NASA and all the space agencies are saying that this is coming, going to be 20,000 kilometers to Earth. Now, what better way to keep people calm than to say it's just going to skim past? Because amateur astronomers can look at this and they can say, Jesus, that's going to hit. But NASA is saying, no, we've done the calculations. It's going to be very close, but it's not going to hit. Don't worry. And it's very difficult unless you have those, massive telescopes and you can make those predictions, you can make those calculations. It's very difficult to understand. What I'm saying is asteroids can degas. They can hit another object in space. They can, they can change trajectory. And at this distance, a slight knock is going to alter it massively. So you guys know how, like, no, you can't see that. So you guys know what I'm talking about. So let's just say that that this is the asteroid's trajectory and it's like that and it's going to miss the Earth. Like a slight knock here, just a little knock, and it's a big knock and it's a big alteration when it gets to that end. Anybody who's done any shooting, you know what I'm talking about. And at greater distance, the smaller the correction, the bigger the impact. So yeah, like Friday the 13th of April, 2029, guys. That's when it's coming closest. Mainstream media, NASA, European Space Agency are all saying we're safe. It's going to be 29. It's going to be 20,000 kilometers from Earth. First of all, that doesn't seem safe to me. Second of all, they could be lying. Third of all, these things that are heading, these things that are in space, they can change trajectory. They can hit things. They can lose gas. They can have when they're coming closer to the sun can heat them up. They can degas. They can move. And this is on its way, ladies and gentlemen. This is on its way. The date is, so that comes closest, ladies and gentlemen, on the 13th of April, 2029. 13th of April, 2029, guys. I'll just read you what it says here, guys. I'll get this up on AI. I know it is that day, but I'll read you what it says. On April 20, I'm just reading this, guys, off AI. On April the 13th, which is a Friday, ladies and gentlemen, they're not saying Friday the 13th, are they? They're trying to stop panic. On April 13th, 2029, Friday the 13th, the asteroid Apophis will safely pass by Earth at a distance of around 20,000 miles. Oh, 20,000 miles. I thought it was 20,000 kilometers. Still, that's well underneath a lot of satellites. Closer than many geostationary satellites. While this is very close, there is no risk of impact. So first of all, guys, the fact that it's coming that close is a risk of impact. It is a risk. It is. The risk is there. It's not a zero risk, is it? If it was a zero risk, it'd be like millions of kilometers away. Miles, sorry. But there is no impact, no risk of impact with Earth. I don't believe that statement, guys. Anyway, this event provides a unique opportunity for scientists to study Apophis and learn more about asteroids. Close approach, no impact. Scientific opportunity, past concerns. Initially, there were some concerns about a possible impact in 2029, but further observation ruled out any possibility of collision. I don't know, guys. Listen, I'm just saying that I can't make these measurements because I don't have the right. I'm just saying I don't have the measurements. I can't make these measurements. I don't have the right tools. But if you want to look at the beginnings of NASA, and doesn't NASA mean the great deceiver? Doesn't NASA in Hebrew mean the great deceiver? I'm pretty sure it means to deceive. Guys, to deceive. I'm pretty sure. It's very strange how Nasha. So Nasha in Hebrew, so Nasha means to deceive. So there we are, guys. NASA. To deceive, I'm not making that up, guys. Go and Google it. So Nasha, to deceive, are saying that it's not, that it's not coming anywhere close to Earth. So there you have it. Witchy Lab is saying, yeah, but even if it doesn't hit Earth, It will, yeah, it may take, it could take out some of those satellites. What do they provide to Earth, or could do hit us instead? Look, this asteroid that's coming, guys. Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're on, can you like, comment, subscribe, do the bell notification things, guys? Really helps me out when you do that, and share my stuff, ladies and gentlemen, right? Biggest thing you can do is share my stuff. So Witchy Lab is saying, even if it doesn't hit Earth, it's going to hit some of those satellites. Look, guys, the whole thing, it's just too close to me. It's 2029, so, people are kind of not thinking about it, but, ladies and gentlemen, it's not that far away. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are the live stream today. I want to focus on the Manchester Airport attackers. They are in day 3, Monday, Tuesday being the first 2. They are in day 3 of the deliberations. So the day 3 now, the deliberations between, trying to find out what's happening with these guys. The longer this goes on, there's been some updates. There's been some updates, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on, there's been some updates. I'm just waiting for there's an update coming, guys. It's just loading up. So I'll give you guys a quick synopsis of what's happening with the Manchester Airport. So we've all seen, the, we've all. I can't even read that. So we've all seen the footage of the Manchester Airport incident in July last year. We've all seen the footage. Now, everybody's been like, yeah, these guys are bang to rights. And when we looked at this, guys, look, and remember, I'm not a legal expert. I'm just saying the arguments that are going to be given. The arguments that are going to be given are that this arrest was not a legal arrest. And because it was not a legal arrest, then everything that happened after that is a direct response or symptom, I guess, of the first incident. Now, this is all going to come down to a simple question. Did the arresting officer identify themselves as a police officer or not? I think that's what it's going to come down to, guys. Literally, that is what this will boil down to. If yes, then they're guilty. If no, they didn't identify themselves as an officer, then I do think there's a case for argument there, guys. There is a case for argument. Now, if they get off on this, and I see the argument that they get off on this on a technicality, if they get off on this, guys, this is going to open up a can of worms in the United Kingdom. It's also going to open up a can of worms for an assault charge brought against the police officers. Because if they're acting unlawfully and that arrest in its first instance was proven to be unlawful and illegal, then they did assault those guys. So you could see a scenario in the next coming days, weeks, months, whereby that legal case turns from a not guilty to these guys were the victims and actually they're owed compensation by the police. That's what you could see, guys. I can see a path. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me there's no legal path for that, because I know there is. And I know that these lawyers, they'll be getting money from funders, donors, from absolutely everybody who will be trying to drive division. And it will drive division, guys. It's divisive. Tension, right, yeah, there is an update, guys, but I'm not going to read it because it's just nothing. It's just flim flabber. So we are in day 3, ladies and gentlemen, of this trial. We're in day 3. The longer this goes on, guys, the longer this goes on, I believe the more likely this is for a not guilty verdict. Tesla bot says, doesn't the uniform say police? Yes, Tesla bot, it does say police on it, but UK law is quite clear. An officer has to identify themselves as a police officer. Let me get it up, guys. Let me get it up. Let me get this up. I'll give you exactly what you have to do. Right. Yes, police in the UK are required to identify themselves when making an arrest, whether they're in uniform or not. They must also explain that the person is being arrested, the reason for the arrest, and that they are not free to go. This is what it's going to hinge on, guys. This is literally what it's going to hinge on. And I think objectively, you've got to be fair to the legal system. So if the officer would have to go up to the gentleman and say, my name is Officer 12345 Raven. I'm arresting you on suspicion of thought crime. You are not free to go. I don't know. And then I don't know if they have to read them that rights thing, like anything you say, maybe. I don't know if that's in the UK or whether that's in America. I don't know. But from what I'm reading now, they have to, an arrest is, they have to identify themselves as an officer of the law. They have to give them the reason why they're arresting them and tell them that they're not free to go. So if that's not being done, as crazy as this sounds, guys, if that's not being done, then the argument is when that officer put his hand on his shoulder, that was assault. UK law, you're allowed to defend yourself if you're being assaulted. So he turns around, he hits him, he sees a load of people with weapons, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna die. So he's fighting for his life, and then he gets tased. If that's found to be not guilty, then that will be those police officers assaulted my client. Because they did. They tased him illegally because he's not under arrest. They're just tasing some dude and he's not done anything. You see where I'm going with this, guys? You see how dysfunctional this could go? I mean, obviously, anybody with alpha brain cell will be like, yeah, they're throwing hand bombs at the police. They go to jail for a long time. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. It's crazy, crazy. John Young is saying, I hear there were 5 charges. Do you think there could be any of these charges could be against the police? I don't know, guys. I know there's the first incident where he's in Starbucks. That I don't know. Look, guys, I'm not a legal expert. I'm literally just like, if it's tanks, bombs, guns, infantry, geopolitics, I'm all over that, ladies and gentlemen. I've done that for a lot of years. UK legal system, I'm just giving you guys my opinion, what I'm getting, what I'm finding online. D. Marie said, I think if that happens, that's 100 the tipping point. Public riots and disorder and the police even leaving in droves. Wouldn't that be fantastic though, D. Marie, if that's what your intention was, to send the United Kingdom into absolute chaos? Remember, the war in Ukraine is still raging. The United Kingdom have taken the lead role in the coalition of the willing. I'm speculating that there's going to be a big military movement the Friday after Trump goes back to the United States or the Friday after. Historically, ladies and gentlemen, that's when it happens. That's crazy. I thought they were attacking random people in the airport. Yeah, so what happened is, as I understand it, guys, with this Manchester airport incident, what happened is there was an altercation, I think, between the Nanan, the lady, and somebody on the plane. I don't know. The guy in the blue allegedly headbutted him. I don't know how that's even a thing. I don't know why he's just like, right, let's just get home, Mum. So maybe she's the instigator. What's that? Who watched that thing? The Mighty Boosh. The Mighty Boosh. Who watched? Does anybody know what I'm talking about with the Mighty Boosh? There was an episode on the Mighty Boosh with, and there was this Nana, and it was Nanageddon. And Nana McTwo and this Nanan was just cruising around, caught like beating everybody up. Anyway, sorry guys, I don't know why I just thought of that. But yeah, maybe the Nanan's the instigator, the fire starter. So there was that incident where he went into Starbucks and allegedly headbutted the guy, and then they came out, and then the police came to arrest. I don't know, guys. It was carnage. It was chaos. Anybody looking at this is literally seeing a guy throwing bombs at the police. But look, guys, if they get a not guilty with this, you know the people that are protesting that turn violent this year when it comes? If they understand now that the precedence is right, okay, if you get arrested, just say, not guilty, self-defense. That's it now. That's it. Can you imagine the backlog? It's over. It's over. It's absolutely over, guys. The legal system, this is what I'm talking about. People don't understand what comes after this. I'm always looking at what's coming next. Like Summer of Carnage, I know it's coming. It's coming. We've seen nothing yet. Global conflict on an industrial scale. It's coming. And then we'll calm down. We'll have a space race. We might even get onto the moon, into Mars, which I think we should do anyway. And then in another 80, 100 years, we'll do the same again. What comes next, if this is a not guilty to assaulting the police officers on the grounds of self-defense, that gives everyone the right, if the police come to arrest you and they're there in their uniform, just whack them straight. Like, you see where I'm going with this, guys? I wouldn't say, like, assault a police officer. What I'm saying is, the self-defense laws, let me go to self-defense. And again, like, the legal jargon here, guys, it's very difficult to, like, hang on, self-defense law. So we're talking about preemptive strike here, guys. I'm just reading this off the internet. Right. In the UK, here we go, guys, right? So let's just take these, guys. I need to caveat this. I'm not a legal expert. I'm just reading stuff off the internet, all right? Tell me if you think I'm wrong, all right? But this is what it says on this is what the internet says. So this is from, these are your rights as self-defense, all right? So your rights of self-defense in the UK, self-defense, in the UK, self-defense law does not require a person to wait to be attacked before defending themselves. A preemptive strike may be justified if there is an imminent threat of violence and the forced use is reasonable and proportionate to the threat. So that's what I believe the law is, guys, all right? And I think that's fair, all right, yeah? So if somebody's walking towards you with a pointy thing, you're not going to wait till it's in you before you throw hands. And I'd always say run off, guys. Listen, my recommendation for everyone, guys, is just run off. Try and avoid it. If you see a group of guys walking down the street and they look a little bit unreasonable, cross over the street, guys. Avoid conflict at all costs. That's what I'm saying. So keep that in your mind, guys, right? Self-defense law, you can do a preemptive strike. You don't need to wait to be attacked, all right? Now, let's go back to this. Officers in the UK are required to identify themselves when making an arrest, whether they're in uniform or not. They must explain the person is being arrested, the reason for the arrest, and they are not free to go. Right, okay, so here's the scenario, guys. Here's the scenario. Tell me I'm wrong. Officer walks up to you, all right? You know you're going to get arrested. You right hook him, all right? Or her. You right hook them. They're down on the floor. They're unconscious. Your defense is, I thought they were going to attack me. They didn't identify themselves as a police officer. I don't think it matters. You see where I'm going with this, guys? Do you see the precedent that this is going to open if they get not guilty? Like, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong in that scenario, guys. What would be the difference in that scenario as a legal precedence to the guys at Manchester Airport? So now you can think about protests, riots, officers trying to arrest people and people fighting. Oh, you didn't identify yourself as an officer. Yeah, no, look, those guys got off, so I need to get off as well. No, I'm not guilty. Think about the backlog. Think about the money that this is going to... Guys, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what we're going through now. This is going to be a defining case, guys. It really is. The longer this goes on, guys, the more likely that these guys are going to get not guilty. Positive programming is saying the police are getting weaker and weaker in their power. Yeah, do you know what? And it's only a matter of time before they start giving their, it's only a matter of time it's only a matter of time before they start giving those, it's only a matter of time before they start giving those powers of detention to the to private security companies. Dylan Williams, hello, Dylan Williams. How are you this evening? Evening, morning, I guess. What time? Hang on, let me see how many messages I've got on the group chat. 52. I've got to do some work, guys. Dylan Williams is saying, I also thought police had more powers work whilst working in an airport due to terrorism. I don't know, Dylan. I don't know what. There may be a law change after this. I don't know what the powers are. Well, I do know that the police in the UK, whether they're in uniform or not, have to identify themselves as police before making an arrest. And that's just, I guess this comes from, I don't know, when we was a polite society, and we used to wear top hats and the ladies used to wear dresses. But now we wear hoodies and like shirts with like bits that are just poking out on the inside because I've not been out of bed long because it's summer holidays and the kids are off school. I'm working from home as always. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen guys, I'm going to close this down now. I've got loads of work to do. I'm going to be back on later today at 8, I hope. At 8, I'll be on. I'll try and get on a little bit before 8, but 8 o'clock will be my, I'll definitely be on at 8. I'll try and get on at 7 if I can. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, like, comment, subscribe, and share my stuff because that helps me out more than absolutely anything, guys. And I really do appreciate it. All the likes, all the shares, all the comments, all the positivity. Give me your positivity, guys. Give me your positivity. The crux of this live stream, Manchester Airport enters day 3. The longer this goes on, guys, I do see the likelihood of this being a not guilty. We've just spoken about the ramifications if that is a not guilty, guys, all right? The summer of carnage has seen nothing yet. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go. I hope you have a great Wednesday, I think it is. Hope you have a great Wednesday. I'll see you soon.